Hi, everyone, and happy holidays. Thank you all so much for joining our Pet MD Facebook Live today. My name is Dr. Benjamin Carter, and I am the Chief Medical Officer here at Chewy Health, where our mission is to make pet healthcare accessible and affordable for everyone. Today, we'll be discussing 5 must-know holiday vet tips with one of our amazing veterinarians, Dr. Chrissy Fernandez. As we get started, comment in the chat to let us know what type of pet you have and ask us questions about safely celebrating the holidays with your pets. We'll be answering your questions at the end of the event, so stay tuned. Thanks so much for joining us today, Dr. Chrissy.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. It's so festive here. I love it.
It really is. I love all the trees and the decorations.
Yeah.
So why don't we start with some introductions of ourselves and the holiday traditions we may have with our own pets. So as I said before, my name is Dr. Benjamin Carter, and I've been practicing veterinary medicine for over a decade, most recently running my own practice right here in South Florida. I earned my Doctor of Veterinary Medicine degree from the University of Florida, where I participated in some really neat and exciting research experience. I've also always loved pets, and I've adopted 8 shelter dogs from my childhood up until today. And right now, my dogs, Fizz, Susie, and Jax, are my crew. And every holiday, I meet up with my mom and my sister, and between the 3 of us, we have, I guess 11 pets, 11 dogs. And we all take them for a walk together, and all the neighbors come out and they're like, "Are you guys dog walkers? If so, I want your card." Do you have any traditions like that?
Yeah, not quite like that. But hey, everybody, again, my name is Dr. Christina Fernandez. I've been a veterinarian for 17 years. At Chewy, I oversee our telehealth platform, Connect with a Vet. For pets, I have 2 dogs, 1 cat, and 2 guinea pigs. And I'd say my favorite holiday tradition with my pets, my dogs and my cats mostly, unfortunately the guinea pigs don't get to participate, is just letting them get wild with the wrapping paper. You know, Christmas morning, kids are sitting around, we're all sitting around the tree, and my cat is swatting balls of paper, the dogs are rolling around, everyone's like slipping and sliding, and it's just chaos and it's pure fun. So
that sounds amazing. That sounds like a lot of fun. And wow, you have a lot of pets. Do you have a llama too?
No, not yet.
No llamas?
Shh, don't give my kids any ideas.
Okay, that's maybe their present this year.
Yeah.
So to those of us watching, we'd love to hear about any holiday traditions you have with your own pets. Comment in the chat and tell us. As I said earlier today, we're going to be talking about how we can celebrate the holiday season safely with our pets. So let's dive in. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Let's take a look here. So question number 1. We're all excited for the holidays, and part of that joy comes from making the holidays special for our pets. In fact, a recent survey shows that 87% of people said that holidays would not be the same without their pet. As we're planning fun treats and gifts for our 4-legged family members, what should we keep in mind?
Yeah, this is a really, really great question, especially this time of year.
Mm-hmm.
It is so incredible to celebrate the holidays with our pets. And I think we get just as much joy out of gifting and shopping for our pets as we do for our family members and our friends. So there are definitely a few things I think we should keep in mind when we are looking for those great gifts or presents to surprise our furry loved ones. I'd start by saying, think about your pet's behavior personality. You know, every pet is a little different. And whether they're an avid chewer or they like to play fetch or they like to chase a ball, thinking about those things can help you really decide on the right gift. You know, if your dog is an avid chewer, think about tougher toys like a Kong or a Nylabone or something like that. Maybe stay away from toys that might break apart easily. The other thing to think about is the size of your pet. You know, if you're shopping for a Great Dane, make sure you order that Great Dane size bone or chew toy or Kong rather than the Chihuahua size.
Absolutely.
You know, we want to prevent accidental ingestions and things that could lead to issues. For our cats, there are, lots of options out there. So many cool cat toys, interactive chasers and swatters and things like that. Think about what your cat likes to do on a regular basis. If they like to swat at things and they're not much of a chewer, great. Those toys on a string can be absolutely fine. But if they like to chew things and explore with their mouth, like some cats do, then maybe stay away from those stringy toys and go with those interactive type chasing things.
Absolutely, yeah. I have to say that that's great advice, as I know that both of us have been there in that OR, having to fish things out from the intestines or the stomach of our patients when they eat something that they shouldn't.
Yeah, so we definitely want to avoid that. So making great choices, just thinking about what your pet does every day and, looking at their size and things like that can be really helpful.
Absolutely. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Are you ready for question number 2?
Yes.
Okay, let's do it. So, the holidays can require a lot of traveling, and it doesn't always go as smoothly as we'd like. With 42% of people saying that they'll be traveling with their pets this holiday season, what are some tips that you can offer them?
Yeah, I love talking about this because I think, traveling with your pet is something that can bring a lot of anxiety about for people and for the pet. And it can be quite stressful, but it doesn't have to be. That's a thing. If we think ahead and plan ahead, we can really avoid a lot of those stressors and moments of anxiety. Things as simple as if your travel is going to require you to go, by air, train, plane, and your pet may have to travel in a carrier, let's choose a carrier that's the right size so our pet can be comfortable. Making sure they can stand up, sit down, and turn around are really important things that we could potentially overlook. Also, if your travel is going to be lengthy, remember, clip on water bowls and food, especially if you're not going to be in a place where you can stop and offer those things to your pet while you're in transit. Other things like avoiding anxiety and nausea. Sometimes, pets are just like people. They experience the same types of symptoms that we do with travel. So if your pet historically has had a bout of nausea during a car ride or train travel, or, they tend to get very anxious, talk to your veterinarian. There are potentially medications that can be prescribed that might help, as well as supplements that you could consider for your pet. And lastly, I'll add practicing travel with your pet.
Absolutely.
Super important, right? As you know, take that car ride a couple of weeks before, make sure the car ride doesn't end in a stressful event. Take them for that, ride around the block, or even go to the train station and walk through it and then go home.
Absolutely. And, I'll add to that for the practice tip. Practice giving the medications. Make sure that your pet does well with that dose. And that way you have a little bit of time, if needed, to call your vet and discuss with them if we need to increase or decrease. And if you are traveling by air, definitely call your airline and make sure that your pet carrier is the right size that can either properly be checked or go underneath the seat in front of you.
Yep, absolutely. And we'll talk a little bit, I think, about, other things you can do to prep. But when you're traveling, just check your travel requirements. If you need a health certificate, things like that, get copies of vaccine records.
Really good tip.
Yeah.
All right, number 3. Sometimes we aren't the ones traveling for the holidays and are instead hosting family and friends. Joyful. When we have a full house, how do we make sure our pets are comfortable and on their best behavior, both people and pets?
Yes, well, there's only so much you can do to control both, right? But it is important to think about how to set yourself and your family and friends up for success as well as your pet. So, think about things like, what's your pet's normal reaction when they're around strangers or crowds? If your dog or cat seems to love the chaos and wants to insert themselves right in the middle of that, then that's great. You may not have a lot of, prepping to do. But if you tend to have a pet that's a little more shy or tends to seem anxious or nervous in situations where there's a crowd or strangers or loud noise, think about that. Create a safe space in the house for your pet, a room or a quiet area where they can go and retreat or rest if they want to. For cats, something I think that can be overlooked is thinking about where their litter box and food and water bowls are in the house normally, right? If they have to walk through a noisy area or an area where you're going to be gathering with friends and family to use that litter box or take a drink of water, they may avoid doing that if those things kind of freak them out, for lack of better words. So, setting up an extra litter box, putting a water bowl in an area that's quiet can make a huge difference. Other things to think about, and I think most of us have experienced this, visitors want to treat your pets. They love them almost as much as you do. So that includes giving things that maybe our pets aren't supposed to have, right? Scraps of food from the table, excessive numbers of treats. Educate your guests about what is okay and what is not okay for your pet. Maybe even think about a list of, foods or treats that your pet can have and post that on the fridge. Hey guys, yep, you want a treat, Fluffy? Make sure you check the list. Because, that's the best way to avoid unwanted issues.
The list idea is great. You can have it naughty and nice for the different types of foods that they can do. Keeping in the festive holiday spirit, right?
I love it. Yeah, that's
Great.
a great idea.
So, are you ready for the next one?
Yes.
Okay. The holidays are often extra special when spent with our aging family members. Likewise, how can we make the holiday season extra special for our senior pets?
Yeah, this is such a cool thing to talk about. One of my most favorite things to do is to look back on photos from years past with my own pets, and think about how we've spent the holidays together. Just like with people, pets change as they age. Their needs change. There are lots of things we can do to kind of make sure we're meeting those and recognizing those in advance, so that we can still have all of that holiday fun. If you're going to be traveling with your senior pet, something to think about, whether again it's in a crate, a travel carrier, or in the car, maybe get that orthopedic bed this time, right? Get the bed that's got memory foam or a little extra padding, so we can pad those old joints and keep them comfortable, especially if they're going to have to sit for prolonged periods of time. The other thing to think about is if you are traveling by car and your journey is going to be long, frequent stops so they can use the bathroom. A lot of our aging pets just can't hold it as long as they used to be able to. And if they have to get in and out of the car and those joints are a little old or feeling, a little off, ramps and steps, things like that can be super helpful. And the last thing I always like to keep top of mind is, even with the most social and friendly and outgoing pets, as they age, they have sore spots, they get achy. Be aware of that, especially when you have visitors around, young children in the house. While we don't want to stop anyone from giving a hug or, a cuddle, we want to be mindful that sometimes pain can lead to unexpected behavior and reactions.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I know from having senior pets of my own is I actually point out to my guests where my little dog Fizz, where she's a little sensitive, just so that they know and they're forewarned.
Yep, great. It's a great idea.
So around the holidays, regular veterinarians can have limited hours or holiday hours. What should pet parents do to prepare for their pet's health needs during the holidays?
Yeah, this is a big one to think about. So, of course, veterinarians and their staff, just like everybody else, want to, take some well-earned time with friends and family. So those hospital hours may start to be a bit limited around the holidays. Likewise, a lot of people are traveling, so needs go up. People need health certificates. They need to get vaccines updated so pets can travel or go into boarding facilities, things like that. So just be mindful that it's better to schedule in advance. Make that appointment for your pet's shots or their prescription refills, 1 to 2 weeks, if not more, in advance of the holiday. Stock up on your pet's medications. Make sure you get your veterinary diets reauthorized. Last thing we want to have happen is you're there on, a holiday when the clinic is closed,
right,
and you're out of your pet's important meds or supplements.
Absolutely. And possibly shipping times are increased. So we want to be wary of that. And are there any alternatives that we can do? Say our vet's closed. Are there any other things that we can access that may be helpful for pet owners?
Yeah, absolutely. So, knowing your vet's hours of operation, super important. The other thing is knowing what resources you have when your vet's not there. Obviously, there are emergency clinics, but they tend to be very busy this time of year. You can use things like Chewy's Connect with a Vet service.
I love that service.
We're here. We have a whole team of veterinary professionals ready to answer your questions and chat with you to help you feel supported and set you up for success with your pet. Likewise, Chewy also has PetMD, has symptom checker tool. Right, so you can input your pet's, the things you're seeing, symptoms of your pet, and get vet verified advice immediately, which is great.
Awesome tips. Yeah. Well, thanks so much for sharing these insights, Dr. Chrissy. I even learned something today. So now we're ready to take a few questions from our audience. Are you ready?
Sounds great.
Okay,
yeah.
This first one comes from Marie. What do I do if I'm not near my vet while traveling and my dog gets sick?
Yeah, that's a great question, Marie. If your vet is sick and you are not near your vet, your pet is sick and you're not near your vet, one is think about the resources, again, that you have. Connect with a vet. If you're visiting family and friends, ask about their local vet. Maybe they have hours and they can see your pet. If not, it's important to identify your nearest emergency clinic. We do that a lot at Connect with a Vet, as well as help people find where's the nearest emergency clinic to me so I can get my pet the care they need.
Yeah, great tip. And, I'll say on the other side, if your pet is maybe not with you and you're away and you're traveling, that you make sure that you contact your regular veterinarian and let them know that maybe you have a pet sitter or maybe your pet is at a boarding facility and that they're authorized to take care of your pet in your absence. That I know always streamlined things for me at my hospital.
Yeah, absolutely. As an emergency doctor, that makes a huge difference. If you know someone's authorized to care or advocate on behalf of your pet, really important.
Yeah, makes it a lot easier for everybody involved in that stressful situation.
Yep.
Are you ready for the next one from our audience?
Yes.
Okay. This one comes from Scott. Scott, thanks for sending this question in. What if you lose pet meds while traveling? That's a good one.
That is a great question. Yeah. So part of that comes with the preparation piece, right? Making sure you have plenty of medications in stock. That way, even if you lose some, maybe you can get some. If someone's at home and you're away from home, maybe someone can go overnight those to you. If your vet is still open, perhaps they can call in a refill so that way you can get those nearby where you are locally. Things like just making sure you put meds potentially in two places, right? We've got the primary bottle and the backup bottle. I know I've done that for myself when traveling. Yep. So all the same rules apply. The same way we would act for ourselves would be with the pet as well.
Great. We're on the same page there. Yeah. Nothing to add.
No.
All right. Are you ready for the next one here?
Yes.
All right. This one comes from Adriana. Are there extra precautions I should be taking with my dog this year, especially with the new respiratory illness that's going around?
Yeah, that's a great question, Adriana. Thanks for asking it. We are still learning a lot about this respiratory illness that's going on. Certainly, we have reason to believe that it's infectious, it's contagious. What the actual cause is still unknown. So just like with any contagious respiratory disease, think about things like trying to limit the exposure of your pet. If we don't have to necessarily go into large crowded areas, or, maybe if you were going to board your dog, instead consider having a pet sitter come to the house if that's an option for you. Make sure your pet is up to date on their vaccines. Even though, again, we don't know the cause of this potential illness just yet, those other core vaccines and respiratory vaccines can do nothing but help prevent and protect our pet from illness in general.
Yeah, there might be some cross-protective immunity going on there, something of that nature. Yeah. And I think it's always best, check with your local practitioner, your trusted family veterinarian, and see what they have to say, because they know your pet better than anybody else.
Absolutely.
So thank you, everyone, for the questions today. If we didn't have time to get to your comment, we'll be publishing an article on PetMD that answers all of your questions and more. Once again, happy holidays, everyone, and thank you so much for joining today, especially you, Dr. Chrissy.
Thank you.
Let us know if you have any topic that you'd like to be covered with a future event.
Thank you, Dr. Ben. Thanks, everybody. Have a great holiday.